Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Dorothy. I'm a professional astrologer, and you can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. And throughout the next 3 months, you'll be able to go to my website on occasion and read these forecasts, especially the new moon and full moon ones. But right now, I want to talk to those who are Cancer, or if you have Cancer rising, and let's talk about April, May, and June. So, excuse me, these are the highlights that I see. Right now it's the middle of January and have a nasty cold. Actually, it's almost done. So today I want to talk about what we got going on here. First off is April 4th. We have a full moon lunar eclipse, and that lunar eclipse is at 14 degrees of Libra in your 4th house of home and family. Now, the cool thing about this is we get a clue as to what's going on, because back on October 8th, we had an eclipse at this same position. It was at 13 degrees of Libra, so it's in essence the same position. What was going on in your relationships? Because it's Libra full moon eclipse. Eclipses are powerful and strong, and there's typically something happens for us. So this was in your 4th house, in your 4th house of home and family. Now, it might be your spousal partnership, or your whomever is your partner, whom you live with, boyfriend, girlfriend, however, and there's something going on at home in this regard. So, because it is in your 4th house, home and family, Libra is our relationships. So there is something going on. Take your clue from October. What was going on in October for you? Because this 6 months later, this eclipse on April 4th is the same type of energy. So we have some idea. Eclipses are like that. 6 months down the road, we get a second opportunity to look at a very similar situation. And if something began, it might end then. If something ended then, it might not be finished yet. So you see, we have this major dynamic going on. And if you really need to know a lot more details for yourself, then you'll have to contact me through my website. The link is below. Next, I want to move on to April 8th. Jupiter stationary direct. It will be stationary at the 12th degree of Leo. This is the same energy that we had going on back in September. That was the last time Jupiter was at 12 degrees. All right? And when a planet like this big thing, because he's a big one, and he is always called the Great Benefic, so he's always beneficial wherever he is, or at the very least he always expands where he is. Now, wherever that area of your chart is, and for you it will be in your 2nd house of values. So in mid-September you got a clue, and whatever was going on in mid-September may now have contracted some, because the planet's been retrograde for months and months. As of April 8th, it was moving forward again. Stationary. It'll take a few days after April 8th to really get into gear and get moving forward. But in the meantime, check what was going on for you mid-September, because you get to revisit that now. That's something that needs to grow for you. It is your 2nd house, Cancer, so that means that it is of something of value to you. What we value is that 2nd house, and when Cancer is in there, it's about, not Cancer, but the Leo energy is in that 2nd house. It is all about, being very creative and valuing what it is that we create. This is coming back up for you. April 16th, Pluto is stationary, moving retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, 15 degrees of Capricorn. It's in your relationship sector. Pluto's been there for a fair amount of years already and will continue to do so. But while the planet is stationary, and that just sort of makes it like any of the big planets, the outer planets, Jupiter out, when they move into either forward or retrograde motion, they're stationary for a day or two, and that is a really intense point. So that's why I mention it. 12 degrees of 15 degrees of Capricorn in your relationship sector. That means your relationships are going through some type of shift for you. Okay? And it is a slow moving shift, so it takes years and years to see what the true effects of it are. And if you're very sensitive, you probably are noticing something changing. A relationship can become much more intense and much deeper, or a relationship can have secrets that come up, and it's time to work those things out and through. The details will depend on other things that go on in your chart. On April 8th, the new moon at 28 degrees of Aries is in the career sector, in your 10th house. And with that, that's excellent. So that is a focus on setting new goals and what it is you need within your career and what you're known for, what you need, not what your boss needs, what you need, because that Aries energy is there. Aries is always in that sector if you have Cancer rising, so that just means that you're very self-centered when it comes to what you want in your career, and there is nothing wrong with that. It does not have to mean a big egotistical issue. It means you are clear in what it is that you want. You're a go-getter, and you're great at initiating things. So that new moon in that sector will really help you initiate new processes and new projects in regards to your career and what you're known for. Let me move on. May 3rd, we have a full moon at 13 degrees of Scorpio. That's in your 5th house. That 5th house is the area where we are passionate and where we create. With Scorpio in that area, that's a fire house. That Leo naturally rules that. Scorpio in that sector, we could be very, very deeply passionate about something. And this full moon will bring it to our attention, something that we're maybe overly passionate about, or we're going to be able to reignite the passion in regards to something that we've had a passion for our whole life, and it may have gone to the wayside for a little while. So the full moon in that 5th house, also something that it can do is reveal liaisons that you may be having. You know, it's that love affair sector of the astrology chart. So if you're having a secret love affair, that full moon in Scorpio in that sector for you with Cancer rising might be a little troublesome. So be careful. May 7th, Venus enters the sign of Cancer. Now that's very opposite of what I just mentioned. Venus in Cancer is that caring, nurturing, loving energy of being home and having your home and family and just being thrilled with that and loving that family in your 1st house. And while it's in your 1st house, that means it is in your face. It is your attention this coming month for the 4 weeks that Venus will be in the sign of Cancer and in your 1st house. You just want to look good, you want to feel good, you want to feel cared for and nurtured, and you will accomplish that in whatever way suits you best. May 11th, Mars moves into the sign of Gemini, and that moves into the 12th house. While Mars transits the 12th house for the next 7 weeks for you, while it's in that area, you know, it's all about really communicating. Mars in the 12th house can keep us from sleeping well, but it can also give us that action that we need to really dig into the psychological issues that sort of haunt us. We all have something or some things, and Mars in that area can really help us to talk out what our issues are, dream through what our issues are, go into meditation and look and see and understand what our issues are. For you Cancer, this 12th house for these 3 months, especially actually for 2 months, May and June, will be highlighted a lot. So that just means that anything that's psychological, that might be old baggage that you kind of just have stuck in a closet somewhere, these things will come out a little bit. And you know what, we can't stuff that closet and not let things out once in a while. So we've got to do that a little bit here and there, and this is the opportunity for you to do it. All right. On May 17th and 18th, now 17th on the West Coast, 18th on the East Coast, we have that new moon at 26 degrees of Taurus. That's in your 11th house. Now a new moon in Taurus in the 11th house is what I value, that moon in Taurus, and the things that I love and what I value and how I see beauty in the area of our friendships. And it's also in the area of goals and setting goals and highlighting our goals and all of that energy. So with that new moon in there, you can really spend a fair amount of time really focusing in on what you value and the groups that you belong to, the friends that you have, and setting some important goals for the rest of the year for yourself. I would take advantage of that in a minute. Anytime that new moon's in our 11th house, we have heightened opportunities to create and manifest what it is that we want. Now, on the same day on the East Coast, that the new moon is on the East Coast, we also have Mercury retrograde for everybody, and that's at 13 degrees of Gemini, and for you, again, that's in that 12th house. So when Mercury's retrograde in any area, that is a focus of contemplation and going within. And you're already in the 12th house, which is about understanding the psychological and the undercurrents of your own life. And so this is a very helpful place for Mercury retrograde, especially in the sign of Gemini. Now, it is in retrograde in all the air signs this year. Every air sign has Mercury retrograde this year. And what that is that we really are, as a collective, as a humanity, we're really needing to get out of our heads a little bit more and stop being so analytical about a lot of different things. And we really need to try and move our energy into more of a spiritual, into a more spiritual component. But we're all going to do it in our own way, one piece at a time throughout 2015. All right, next, May 21st, the sun moves into Gemini, again in your 12th house. So when the sun moves through this 12th house, that 12th house is an area that's not illuminated very often unless you're born with the sun in the 12th house. And so it will help you to highlight and to see those secrets that you need to clean up and reveal about yourself. And again, those psychological issues that you need to work through for yourself. Now, some people who are into healthcare, depending on your career and other things in your life, if you are a person who's needs to take care of especially a family member, you might end up spending a lot of time in some sort of institution, in a hospital, taking care of someone else, or trying to get, you know, a loved one or an elderly friend into a healthcare facility for living arrangements, things like that, because that 12th house also does include all kinds of institutions, and hospitals and healthcare systems like that are part of that, you know, definition. All right, let's move on to June. Okay, June 2nd, we have a full moon, and that's 11 degrees of Sagittarius in your 6th house. So that means you get to focus in on what your daily routine is all about at this point in time. Full moons are about releasing and letting go. So if you've overdone it, yeah, you guys, Cancers really do care and nurture for a lot of people. It's not a bad thing, but sometimes you will overdo it and forget to take care of yourself. If that's the case, when we have a full moon in that 6th house, we could end up feeling run down ourselves and have to take some time off just to recover from our own little whatever we end up catching, whatever little virus might be going around. So be cautious of that for yourself. It's a nice little warning. If you get nothing out of this whole video, just know that if you're not taking care of your own self and you're pushing yourself a lot in April and May, that you could actually be the one that ends up, you know, spending a lot of time recovering and recuperating. Don't want to do that. So take care of yourself ahead of time and you won't have to, okay? You can use that full moon in Sag to learn new things on a regular basis instead of having to recover. April 5th now, June 5th. I'm into June now. June 5th, Venus enters the sign of Leo on June 5th, and that again moves into your 2nd house because that's where your Leo happens to be, with Cancer rising or a Cancer sign. And when it is in that 2nd house, again, we get to create a lot of beautiful things and really see what it is that we value when it comes to caring and beauty. In the Northern Hemisphere, we're into, you know, we're in the late spring right now, so we're able to start planting and creating things outside, and so that Venus entering that 2nd house definitely speaks to that type of activity if that interests you. On June 11th, Mercury will be going direct. It's at 4 degrees of Gemini, stationary to direct. Again, that's when communications and things start to become clearer in that 12th house sector for you, Cancer. All right. On June 14th, Saturn moves back into the sign of Scorpio. It's been retrograde for quite a few months now, but it moves back into Scorpio. It will be in the sign of Scorpio until September 18th. Now that is in your 5th house. So what you create has gone through a very whole different set of structure. You know, redefining what that structure is since 2013, 2014, even part of 2012, was going through some sort of restructuring. And now that Saturn has moved back into Scorpio for a few months, it will go back into Sag soon after that, after September. But in the meantime, from June, for the 3 months, June to July, July to August, August to September, 3 months it's in the sign of Scorpio. You're going to be working through issues of foundational structure things, and really relating to what you are passionate about. If you are passionate about anything, it might help you to define that, because not everybody has their passion or knows their passion or finds a passion. Now that fifth house where all of this Saturn energy is in this time period, it's also about our children. So if you're needing or wanting or having to help your children, your especially adult children, with certain things in life, that will come back up again too. Not for everybody, some of us. On June 16th, the new moon is at 25 degrees of Gemini. Again, a new moon now in your 12th house. When we have a new moon in the 12th house, the energy around that is bringing up things, helps us to bring things up that we need to see, things we need to see clearly. I already mentioned that a whole lot, but that 12th house is your main focus for May and June. So anything that is been hidden from you, that's coming up, especially with the Gemini energy, especially with this new moon in Gemini, you're going to be able to communicate that very, very well for yourself and really get it out on paper, whatever is healing process for you. A lot of people like to write stuff down and burn it so they can easily release it. Even the new moon, which is about setting goals, but this new moon in this sector will definitely help you work through that energy and create some new things for yourself. Create space is really what it's all about for you. All right, Cancer, it's your time of year now. Starting on June 21st, the sun enters the sign of Cancer. That's your first house. And on June 24th, Mars also enters that sign of Cancer. And when it does do that, what we get is your first house. So you really get to focus in on what it is that you want for you. Now, that summer solstice on the east coast of the United States is at just after noontime. So that's a cool summer, it looks like. A cool, maybe a little wetter summer than we would typically like after having a very snowy winter. New England might not be thrilled to hear that, but needless to say, who knows? Well, it's weather astrology. And some people know. But with that Cancer energy, with the sun in the sign of Cancer and Mars in that sign of Cancer in your first house, you will definitely be able to work on the things that are important for you. And that is what I will leave you with at this point in time. Work on what's important for you, how you want to care and nurture, and how you want to show that to the world. All right, please come and find me at NHAstrologer.com. I do online classes all the time, and if you would like your own personal session, I would appreciate that too, since I do lots of free stuff, and this is the way I earn my living. I would love it if you would come and see me for a session. I do lots of Skype and phone things too. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you, and I am very grateful that you're there. Please share. Find me on Facebook as well, Dorothy Morgan Astrologer. Thank you. Blessed be. And I want to say, namaste.